FC26 has been out for a little while now, and this year EA introduced a new feature for FC26 career mode called Manager Live Challenges. And this is actually a pretty decent feature, with loads of different types of challenges giving you loads of different kinds of restrictions for a career mode. However, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It can be a bit clunky, some of the challenges are pretty unrealistic, and whilst obviously you don't have to play these and you can just jump into a normal career mode or a live start point, sometimes playing the standard big team career mode or road to glory career mode can get a bit boring for some people. So here are 5 career mode challenges that you must try in FC26 to spice up your career mode save. If you go on to enjoy this video, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you're liking what you see. I am currently doing a Youth Academy save with Oldham Athletic in League 2, and if you don't want to miss a video from me, hit that little bell somewhere near the subscribe button and select all notifications. You'll get notified every time that I upload a video. First up, we're heading to Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday is a club that is currently embroiled in a crisis. Late payments of wages, partial stadium closures and transfer embargoes are currently going on at this club, and at the time of recording this they have failed to pay their players and staff on time again for what I think is now the 4th time this season, or at least in this calendar year, which means that they could be about to get a points deduction as well on top of everything that they've already suffered. So if you start a career mode with Sheffield Wednesday, why not implement their real life struggles into your career mode? So the embargoes that Sheffield Wednesday are currently under include not being able to pay any transfer or loan fees for any players until the 2027-28 season, which means that if you start from the beginning for the first 4 transfer windows, you can't buy any players from any other clubs. The only way you can sign players is by free agents, pre-contract signings, or on loan with no fees at all. If you want to make this more challenging for yourself, you could also do away with the signing on fees if you want. Another thing is that in the game, Sheffield Wednesday's objective is to finish mid-table, and with a squad as low rated as they've got, which has no business being a championship squad, that is going to be a pretty difficult challenge to achieve, especially if you have your board strictness on anything other than no sacking. So through this save, you'll need to make sure that you don't get relegated in the first season through signing free agents or even building up your youth academy, which is probably going to be the easiest way to combat this. And with a League 1 and maybe even League 2 rated squad, try and survive in the championship in the first season. And if you want an even bigger challenge for this save, then why not use the live start points? At the time of recording, Sheffield Wednesday are currently second bottom of the championship with only 6 points, which means that 1, you've already skipped a transfer window, which means that you are stuck with the squad you've got until January, and 2, you're already on the back foot. And as I mentioned, they could be about to get a points deduction as well, although that's not been confirmed. So if you start from the beginning, why not start with a points deduction? So that is a well-known, well-documented challenge of a real-life club. Now let's move on to something that's a little bit different, and that is playing with a B team. There are currently 3 B teams in the top 5 leagues in Europe in FC26. Real Sociedad B in the Segunda Division in Spain, and Hoffenheim 2 and Stuttgart 2 in the 3 Liga in Germany. What would this challenge be, you may ask? Well, play like a B team. People in the past have done these types of career modes where they start off with the B team and try and get up to the level and surpass the senior team. And that's all well and good. And the long-term vision of this challenge would be to do exactly the same thing. However, the challenge would be that initially actually play and run the club like a B team. So that means bringing players through the youth academy or signing players that are only 18 or under and having no players in your squad over the age of 21. Now that can be easy enough to complete through using the youth academy and regens, but the real challenge comes at the end of each season. Now obviously you are a B team, you have a senior team higher up the leagues, so at the end of each season, if you have mods, let's say, then your top 3 or maybe top 5 highest rated players, put them in the senior squad. So for example, if you're playing as Hoffenheim 2, your top 5 highest rated players, send them to Hoffenheim. Or if you don't have mods, then in that case, put them on the transfer list and sell them. They are too good to be in your team. If you want to make it an even bigger challenge, maybe do the same with your top scorer, your top assister, your highest performing player, your highest average rated player, all of that kinds of stuff. And also if you don't have mods, if the senior club comes in with an offer for one of your players, you must sell that player for free to that senior club. And only when you reach the same division as your senior club can you then kind of play this career mode as normal, because at that point you are no longer the B team. I find this to be a different, fun kind of challenge because it means that it's going to take a lot longer to progress through the leagues, especially if you choose one of the German teams who are 2 leagues below the top rather than just the 1, because it means that you might be able to build players up to be very, very good. However, when they become very good, they're too good for you and you need to get rid, because really your whole goal is to develop the next generation of talent but not keep them. Now the next one is a little bit out there and one you might not have heard of before. This is Gimcheon Sangmu, a club that play in the Korea K-League 1. What you might not know is Sangmu is the sports division of the Republic of Korea Armed Forces, which means that their entire team is made up of people who are currently on their mandatory 2-year military service. You might remember back to when Heung-min Son might have had to do this, but eventually got away with not doing it because of his sporting achievements. In real life, they draft 15 new players each season. Obviously, because they are an armed forces club, they can't buy players, they can't sign players, they have to draft them in because all of these players have come from other clubs that play in the K-League system. They have moved from their club to Sangmu because they are serving in the military. And this of course means that Gimcheon Sangmu cannot sign any players outside of South Korea. And I don't just mean players that are not from South Korea. They can't sign any players that, 1, are not from South Korea and 2, don't play in South Korea. So this is a real challenge. And of course, because they only serve 2 years military service, it means that once they've done those 2 years, they leave the club and go back to where they were before. So obviously you can't recreate this in FC26, but the best way I can think of recreating this, first of all, you can only sign South Korean players that play in the K-League, which obviously is quite a restriction. Secondly, you can only sign them on a 2-year contract, nothing more, nothing less. And when that 2-year contract is up, they have to leave. You can't sell them, you can't give them a new contract, nope. 2-year contract only. And that also goes for youth players as well. If you decide to use the youth academy, you can call them up. Obviously, you don't have a say on how long their contract is, but after 2 years, release. Gimcheon Sangmu can't play in continental competitions either, but obviously, again, in FC, you can't change that. I mean, if you were able to turn it off, it would be a pretty rubbish career mode anyway, so obviously the goal is to take all of these players who are on their military service and win the AFC Champions League. Now that's a pretty hard one. Now let's just rein it in slightly. This is Al Najma, a club in the Saudi Pro League. Now I know what you might be thinking, Saudi Pro League, they've got some of the best players in the world. That, you know, the clubs are minted, this is going to be easy. Al Najma have the lowest budget in the Saudi Pro League. They have under $1 million in their budget. Not a single English club has less than $1 million in their budget. And you might be thinking, well, what's the challenge here? Well, let me introduce you to the Saudi Pro League squad registration rules. So a bit like the Premier League, a Saudi Pro League club must have a 25-player squad. The real challenge comes with the makeup of that squad. So the registration rules are as follows. 25-player squad. A maximum of 10 non-Saudi players. So you can only have 10 players in your squad that are not from Saudi Arabia. 2 of those players must be 21 or under. You can also include 1 foreign player that has been born in Saudi Arabia. Now, for my research, it said born in 1998 or later. I think that's an old article, so I've put it down here as 1999 or later. Basically, the player can't be older than 26. Obviously, that requires a little bit of research. And in any matchday squad, you can have a maximum of 8 foreign players, which means that you have to really think about your matchday squad. Because obviously, if you have more than 8 non-Saudi players in your matchday squad, you are going to get some punishment for it. If you accidentally have too many foreign players in your squad or foreign players in your matchday squad, impose punishments on yourself. Obviously, if you're on console, that's quite hard to do. If you're on PC, you can use the live editor and put the punishments on yourself as and how you wish. And the final challenge is to save with a City Group club. If you don't know what the City Group is, it's basically a network of clubs that are owned by the owners of Manchester City, called the City Group. And this challenge is simple. Pick a club from the City Group, and then you can only sign players from the other clubs in the City Group, or obviously from your youth academy. Pretty simple challenge, but there is a wide array of teams you can do this with. They are, of course, Manchester City, based in England, Girona in Spain, Troyes in France, Palermo in Italy, New York City in the USA, Melbourne City in Australia, Shenzhen City in China, and Mumbai City in India. And because of the wide array of those clubs and the differences in finances and the differences in leagues they play in, it means that you can do many different versions of this stage. You could go with Manchester City and sign all of the best upcoming talents from these other clubs and grow them into Premier League world beaters. You could go with a club like Troyes or Palermo, who are currently in the second tier of their countries, and sign some of the best talents from the other clubs. Either try and sign the higher rated ones or try and sign high potential ones and work your way up from there. Or if you want a big challenge, then choosing a club like Mumbai City in India, who are not very rich, and also just playing in a different country in general to what you would normally choose. And who knows, a retiring Erling Haaland might spend a season in India. But that is 5 challenges in career mode that I think you should try. Some of them based off real life situations, some of them take real life situations and turn them into something else, like the City Group save, for example. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button down below, subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more, and if you don't want to miss a video, hit that little bell somewhere near the subscribe button. You'll get a notification every time I upload if you press all notifications. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and peace.